This conference will now be recorded.
See, package nothing, it's a collection of classes. So java.lang package contains typically the first one important one is object class, right? Object class, string class, and wrapper classes we have integer, right? So boolean, remember team. So a primitive type boolean starting from a lowercase small b, and wrapper class boolean starting from a capital B. There we are saying primitive int, small I. Here we are saying integer. It's a class, right? So try to observe the difference. And string is common. The only one we have a string class type capital S only, right? So here we have a double. So, right? And byte, we have a character. Character for what? Char. For char primitive data types, we have a wrapper class for character, right? So these are the important methods team. Object, string, integer, boolean, double, float, byte, character, right? So yesterday we discussed about object. So first of all, what is an object team? So before that, we already know object is an instance of class or memory of class. And again, we have a class using its name itself. It's an object, right? Now, what is an object class team? Whenever you create any class in a Java, so by default, object class acting as a parent class or super class, right? So if you make a relationship between the two classes, so automatically you will have a accessibility of using your parent class methods. So here also after the same logic, so if you create any class, so you can able to use object class methods. How? Because the object is a by default parent class of user defined class or predefined class. Now if your class having a parent class, then your object class is a grandparent. Here team,
Yeah.
right? So yesterday we discussed about the method from an object class, get class. So that will return what team. So if you want to get the name, or if you want to know the runtime functions, so all the methods you can get from this class. The class name itself, class team. So get class method, return type is class. Get class method calling from where? Object class, right? Hash code, return what?
Code.
Return what? Hash code.
Code.
Hash code of an object. So whenever you create object for a class, so by default, by the time of creating object, JVM will assign a unique number for each and every object. So if you call this hash code return object of the class equals method to compare two objects. So if two objects are equals, it return true. If it is not equals, return false, right? So clone method, you can get a copy of that particular object, true string to convert object to string format, and finalize method to call garbage character, right? Notify all, wait. These are thread specific methods from an object, right? These are the most commonly used method: get class, hash code, equals, so toString. So toString is very important, right? These are the methods from a object class, right? So before going to the next class, let's have some interesting topic here. I think we discussed about access specifiers, right? What are the access specifiers we have in?
Public, private, protected, default.
Okay, very good. So we have a public, private, protected, default, right? These are access specifiers. And so we are also having non-access specifier team. So access specifiers denote what? Denote what, team? Accessibility, right? So where you can
Yeah.
access. So if you apply a public access specifier for your classes or a method or a variable, you can access anywhere in the project. Remember, team?
Yeah.
We discussed public, private, protected, default. What
Yes.
is the default access specifier accessibility, team?
Oh, within the package.
Right? Very good. So default access specifier, we are also saying that it's a package level.
Yeah.
Private members accessibility only. So inside a class. Protected accessibility.
Inside a class and yeah.
Inside a class.
Packages also. I'm only child class. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's the child class of another package.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's a good one. So I need this one, especially protected. So anyway, you can remember this one, public. And also you can remember private. I can understand you remember this one, default, package level. Now, especially people will ask this one thing, and everyone will confuse about this one only, protected. Okay. So public, you can able to understand, or blindly you can say. Private, you can say within a class. Protected, doubt. Default, so somewhat you can remember. Okay. Now, so like access specifiers, we are also having a non-access specifiers team. So among non-access specifiers, comes under the first one is abstract. So we already know a good understanding about abstract. What is an abstract, team? What is abstract?
Abstract is a class or a method,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't contain method body.
Mm-hmm.
We can execute it methods by using implementation class.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh, and we
Okay.
can't create objects.
Okay. Convinced. Right. So first of all, abstract is a keyword, team. Right.
Yeah. Q.
Abstract keyword we can apply for what? Methods. Already we discussed. Right.
Yeah.
Now, if you apply abstract keyword for a method should be abstract method. Right. So that should be without method body. So if your class having at least one abstract method, then class should be
Abstract class.
abstract class. Right? So you cannot maintain a normal class, you cannot maintain an abstract methods inside a plain class or normal class. So classes we can segregate by using abstract keyword. We can segregate class as fully abstract class, partially abstract class, right?
Yeah.
And fully implemented classes. Fully abstract in sense all are abstract methods. Fully abstract class. So interface we are saying it's a equals to fully abstract class. All are abstract methods or unimplemented method, right? So even we cannot create object for a interfaces and abstract classes. And who is responsible to give the implementation for this abstract method team? Child class or
Class.
implementation classes,
Yeah.
right? Now we have a keyword called static. Already we know somewhat about static.
Yeah.
Tell me what are the points you know about a static?
Static.
It is static does not change.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Static is like memory. It is created while class loading.
Mm-hmm. See, in interview or anywhere, so first of follow this process team. If someone asks anything, first of all say what is that.
The keyword, and we can use for variables, methods,
Okay.
like access specifier.
And if you remember, second the definition.
Okay.
And so if you are able to understand about that concept, then you can say how to use it, when to use it. So if you
Fine.
know these things, how and when, obviously you can know where to use. Okay. So anyone ask, just follow the process. Just follow the steps. What is that? If you remember definition, at least a single line. Don't say single word. Single line definition. And how to use it, when to use it. If you know how to use, when to use, already you know where to use. Okay. Static keyword. Static is a keyword, right? So for what we can apply the static keyword team? Why are you so silent team?
For memory,
For what we can apply for the static keyword? We can apply for methods, we can apply for variables, right?
yeah.
Hope I have given example also. I have given example team. Outer list, Hyderabad.
Yeah.
So you remember, I have given example. So I have taken
Yes.
example outer list.
Same values. Yeah.
Right. So static, the definition of static here is, the meaning of static is not changing. So
Constant.
if your variables are not, if your variables value is not changing, just declare a static. So why is static here? Memory perspective. So if you use a static, so let's say this is a memory of your class. If you create object for a class, the memory will be created like this. So first of all, your object memory and start, this is consider your object memory. Now this is static memory. Now inside a static memory there will be available of static variables and static methods. The static variables and static method ready by the time of class loading. That's why, so inside a static, if you want to access, that should be static, whether it be method or variable directly, right? So if you create object, so memory will be created by using your object, nothing but reference. Here there will be a non-static variables and non-static methods. So these non-static variables and non-static methods, so you can access through what?
By
Object
object.
reference.
Exactly.
So if you create object for one more time for your class, there will be a memory creation for your class, but not a static memory. Static memory is always one-time activity for your classes. By the time of class loading, static memory will be created for your class, that too only one time, but not every time. So here object memory will be created for object to object. Suppose if you are if you having a class called A, if you create object like this, class name object image for new constructor, object will be created whenever you execute this line. What line? Class name object name is equal to new constructor. Memory will be created like this, A, like this. But static memory is one time activity team. The memory perspective. So when we have to use static, if your methods, if your variables content is not changing, just go for a static variables. That's why the static variables we can access without memory also. Nothing but, so without memory reference, object reference. So we can access directly. Also we can access through class name reference. Remember?
Yeah.
Static way.
Yeah.
Among object reference and static way, which is a priority team? Static way. Because so we are not depending upon object creation. Directly we are accessing static methods and variables using class name reference. And the third one is final team. Excuse me. Final is also a keyword team, just like a abstract and static. So this also we can apply for variables and methods. So this is a very important in interest perspective. People will ask you a question about this final keyword. Sorry, here let me ask one question. Most famous interview question team. Can we execute a program without, I mean Java program? Most famous interview question. Without main method. Now tell me, based on your knowledge, can we execute a program without a main method team?
No.
So
Yeah.
we can execute without main method, we can execute. So up to where? Up to Java Java 1.6 version. So if you are using a Java below 1.6 version, so you can execute a program without a main method by using static block. We'll tell you how to execute. But now we are using Java 1.8, higher than 1.6. Now here we cannot execute a program without a main method. So if you are having a one below 1.6 version, you can execute it without a main method. But from Java 1.6 onwards, so if you want to execute so any program, first of all you should have a main method in your program. Clear? Now let's see it. Let me create a package. My package name is version. So let me have class called without main. Right. Now, so if you want to execute any program, first of all, you should have a main method, right? So already we know. So first we'll take a main method, public static void main. So internally, so we'll take any code like this. How will you execute? Right click, run as Java application. We'll get output. Now observe here. Now earlier, before 1.6, you can able to execute a code. So without the main method, so taking the help of what? Static block. What team? Static block. So what does it mean a block team? So if
A
you are
group of
taking like this, parenthesis, that is nothing but you can consider a block. So this block we are using for what? Methods, constructors. Yes or no?
Yeah.
And here, so if you want, you can write a code inside a class. So earlier what we have discussed in where you want to write a code, where you are allowed to write a code inside a class. I want to write a code where I can
Method.
write.
Inside a method.
Very good. Inside a method. Outside of the method.
Initializations just.
So
Variable.
except
Variable.
variable declaration, I cannot write a code outside of the method. Right. So if you want, you can declare a variables outside of the method. That means class level. You can declare a variables. Now, other than method, can I write code in anywhere?
No.
Constructor. Inside a constructor.
Very good. So if you want, even you can write inside a constructor. Like take a constructor, and already know we know what the constructor syntax, access specifier,
Class
constructor
name.
name,
Class
parentheses,
name.
and this block inside a constructor block, and you can write the code and you can execute. How will you execute a constructor code team? By creating object,
Object.
class name, object name, which one new constructor. Whether if it is a parameterized, pass a parameter. If it is default, no need to pass a parameter. Right? Now observe team. Even you can write a code without a method and without a constructor.
Okay.
And so what is the syntax of method team?
Access specifier.
Access.
Access
Return
specifier,
type.
return
Method
type,
name.
method name, and
Parentheses.
parenthesis method body. And
Access.
syntax of constructor, access specifier,
Access specifier. Constructor
return
name.
type, return type.
No. No
No
return type.
Good. Right? Access specifier, no return type, and constructor name should be
Class name.
class name, parentheses and braces. Nothing but block. Now here, if you want, you can write a code without access specifier, without return type, even without method name and without constructor name also. Now see, so this is a block. So here I want to write my code. Observe. So you can write a code. So, but you cannot execute this one thing. Anyway, you're allowed to write a code, but you cannot execute. Now, I want to execute a code. So if you want to execute this code, or if you want to compiler or JVM has to recognize your code, so that should be make it as a static block thing. So static block you can take directly by using a static keyword without name, without return type, and without parentheses. Just a static. Observe. So earlier, before Java 1.6, so here you can able to execute this thing, static block, without main method. Still, if anyone having a Java versions before 1.6, you can execute this one without main method. This program will execute. Now you will get output. Just compile it and run it. Now we are currently using which version? Java 1.8, right? Now
Yeah.
observe. So if I say run as Java application, you don't get anything new. Without main method, even you don't get run as Java application. So if you have a main method, so you will get run as Java application. Now let's say this is main method. Observing. So what is the output you'll expect?
Main method.
So we can expect this one, and nowhere we are calling the static block. Yes or no? We are
Yes.
not calling a static block. Now observe the output.
Yeah. Okay, that's good.
Right? static blocks, static variables, and static methods will be ready by the time of class loading. There is no dependency of memory for the static variables, static method, and also static blocks. Any questions, team?
No.
Static variables, static methods, and static blocks. When this will be ready to execute, team? By the time of class loading. There is no
Class
memory
loading.
dependency. And when the static blocks will execute, team? When the static blocks will execute? By the time of class loading. Here am I calling anywhere this static block? No, right?
No.
So if you don't call, even it will execute by the time of class loading. But so if there are any variables and methods, you have to call explicitly methods and variables. But static blocks, you don't need to explicitly call it.
Yeah.
It will execute by default by the time of class loading. Now tell me the points, Jim, one by one. Tell me the points. Let's say non-static methods or variables. So how will you execute these non-static methods and variables, team?
By creating objects and yeah,
So by
with
creating
the help of
object,
object.
using that object reference, you will call like this, right? So object reference dot. So if it is a method, you will call like this, or if it is a variable, you will call like this.
By system println or by storing in new variable.
Right. So object reference dot variable. So here, so by the time of calling method, storing a return type is optional. But by the time of calling a variable, storing that variable is mandatory because it will throw an error. Always variable come up with some value. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is you have to follow. So you're calling a variable, storing into another variable based on the data type it is holding. Now tell me, team, how to execute static methods and variables.
With the
How
help
will you
of
execute?
main method.
So
Main
okay,
method.
okay. How to using main method? How will you execute?
We can directly call the method
We can directly
Okay.
call the method names.
or class
Only
reference. Class references.
right. Now inside main method, let's say I'm having a variable static int age equals to 40. Now this age variable, so can I access only inside a main method?
No, we can
So
access to
even if you have
class in the
even if
class.
you have user defined method, public static, this is my method, return type, this is my method. Even inside this also you can access this age variable directly.
Yes.
But so altogether again you have to call this method into your main method or else directly through object reference. Now the static methods and variables. So first way you can call directly. So here you have to remember it should be possible only inside. So
Inside
calling
it.
directly methods and variables only inside a class, that is possible. Outside of the class you cannot call it. And any other? Static methods and variables. Come on, quickly. Static way. What is the static way?
Class reference with the help of
Using a
class
class reference. And any other?
wait.
Any other? Even object reference also you can access to. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Even object using object reference also you can access static methods and variables, right? So you can execute. Now, constructor. When the constructor will execute him, how to execute the constructor?
By
Whenever
object,
the
while object
creating the object, the constructor also executed.
At the time of object creation, constructor will execute automatically based on the parameter you are supplying. So if it is a default, no need to supply. So if it is a single parameter, if you pass single parameter constructor will execute. If you pass a double parameter constructor will execute. Right? Now static blocks. When the static block will execute team? By the time of
When
class
loading.
load. Now tell me the difference between constructor execution and static block execution.
constructor, we have to create object.
So
Yeah.
So when see observe here, so I have a piece of code. When I have to mention inside my constructor, when I have to mention inside my static block. Is my question understandable?
Yeah.
So I have a piece of code. Now when I have to go for a constructor, when I have to go for a static block.
Okay.
Now static block will execute without object creation by the time of class load. Yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? Can I say like this? So I have a piece of code I want to execute by the time of class loading. Now when we have to go for a constructor team, I have a piece of code so that I want to execute by the time of
Object creation.
creation. So for if you want to execute this code, or you have to create an object. And if you want to execute this code, no need to create an object. Just if you execute the class, or if the class is loaded, automatically this code will execute. Clear, team?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Now let's move to the final. Now again, this final keyword we can apply for variables, methods, and also classes team. Right. Now we'll see the one by one. So first of all, variables. Right. Now final with variable. Boring team?
No.
Okay. We create a package called is-empty, right? Class called final demo, right? Let me have main method. Now observe here. Now I'm having a variable called int age equals to 20. This is variable declaration. Now here I want to access inside this main method. So here I would like to print it. So obviously it will give you error. Why it will giving error, team? So if you want to access inside a static directly, that should be a static, right? Now I want to update this age, team. So now after 1 year, so age will become
21.
21. Very good. Now after 22. If you
22.
have a requirement, so you have to update a value. So generally we'll take this one, right? Now
Yeah.
observe. So if you have a variable like, let's say, password equals to 12345 6. So let's consider this is an integer. Now generally non-static variables will take like this. But so observe, team, the keyword called final. You can apply the final keyword for your variables, methods, and classes also. Now try to apply my final keyword for my variable. Observe. This is my final variable. Right? Now observe here. So let me have a one more variable, int age equals to 1. Now here I'd like to update this variable here. So here also you don't get any error. Observe carefully. My intention is you want to understand different difference between final variable and non-final variable. Observe. What if I want to update this age variable, team? So you have to do like this. Age equals to 21. This will update. Better take it in a main method, non-main method. Let me maintain my other method. This is public void test method. This is my method. Now inside this method, so if I want, I can update this my age variable like this. Method, okay, class, okay, right? Now I can update this age variable. Now observe, team. So same. So I'd like to update this password. Now age is 21. Change it. Password, I'm trying to change 12345 7 this time. Observe. I am getting error. So what is saying? So move the cursor. Remove final modifier of password. If you say final, that is the final, team. You cannot change again and again. When we have to go for a final variable stream, if the value is not changing throughout the project, just make it as a final so that no one can change that variable value. Clear, team?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now tell me, so can you tell me the difference between static variable and final variable?
We can
Static
use a
variable.
static variable anywhere in the class,
Okay.
but final we can't use, like we can't update
Mhm.
or modify.
Method we can access static variables actually. Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, let me clarify about this final variability. Now, when we have to go for a final variable, so if you don't want to change again and again, and so if you want to maintain a value throughout your project by the time of execution, and so you're saying you're indirectly you're saying, so no one have a rights to update this value. So if you are not having the final, so you can update. But so why you are going for a final? You're not at all interested to update this value by anyone. So if you say final, the variable value is final. No one have a rights to update the variable value. Right? Now,
Yeah.
final variables cannot be changed. Clear?
Okay.
Right. Now, final capital small f team. Final with methods. Let me remove this one because I will get error enter my project level. Now, let me have a class team. So I'm having a class called T, and also I'm having a class called A. Right? Now, so in my B class, I'm having a method called public void. Let's say display method. How to override this display method team? I want to override the display method in my B class. How to override? Come on, do it quickly.
ToString method.
Why toString method? Okay, so we are overriding object class toString method. Just here I'm asking, so how to override this display method? Not a toString method.
Only display method.
What is
Extends
method? What is the method overriding team?
to relationship to classes. I mean,
So
Same
relationship
methods.
between two classes. So as of now, these classes are having a relationship.
No.
no.
So both are independent classes. So let me
Yeah.
make a relationship. How to make relationship? So B
Extends.
extends
Okay.
extends here. Extends. Okay. Right. Now my B is acting as
Child.
child. My A is acting as parent class. Now key here, can I say override?
Yeah.
Why I'm getting error?
Because we don't have any method in A.
Parent class
Very good.
methods.
So if you want to override, there should be a presence of same method in both classes team. So you're
Yeah.
overriding nothing but you're not satisfied with the parent class method. Now you are enhancing or you are improving the method in a child class. So here, this is enhanced code or improved code. Always remember, this is improved code. So here you may have old code. So you are not satisfied with the old code. Hence you are going for a improve or implementing or improvising of in child classes or end classes or implementation classes. This could be an interface or this could be a parent class. Whether you mention override or not. So if your relationship classing having the same method signature, this is overriding. Clear, team?
Yeah.
Now, so I don't want to see let anyhow. So this class having one method. So let's say this method, this class A having one more method, public void. Let's say this login. User login. Login functionality is common. I don't want to allow to override this method in child classes. So can I override this login method again?
Yeah.
So how to override?
You
Same.
write again the log
Method
that method.
So
Public
same
void
we
code.
have to take like this. What is the difference between display method and login method?
Code.
Just code itself. So here
Yeah.
we are overriding the parent display method. Here also we are overriding login method. Whether you mention override or not override. So always here the override keyword is hidden team in my login child class. By default, automatically program will detect here you are overriding. So at the rate override is optional. That's it. Okay. Now, so anyhow, I don't want to override. I don't, I'm not willing to give a permission to override this login functionality. So, so he's here. I want to stop this functionality to override. My requirement is clear, right?
Yeah.
So I want to stop. So no one have I'm not allowing anyone to override my login functionality because it is working perfectly fine. I don't want to give the enhancement for this one.
Okay.
So at that time, so if you say the method final,
Yeah.
observe, have you observed it?
Yeah, we are getting error.
So if I say method final, I am getting error in line number 21. So which is a overriding method in my child class. If you move the cursor to here, so what it is changing? What
Remove
is saying?
final modifier.
Remove final modifier. So if you apply a final non-access modifier for a variable, the variable value is final. So no need to change again and again. No one can change or no one can update the value, final variable value. Right? Now, if you update a final access, non-access specifier for your method, so no one can
Override.
override. So override, where will you override team? Obviously, child classes.
Yeah.
Clear?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Now, by the time of overriding, so you have to remember few points, team. Right. Now here, so by the time of method overriding, you have to consider few points, team. So to override, so method signature should be same in two relationship classes. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So that should be there should be same method signature in two relationship classes, right? Now, always accessibility have to improve it. I'll tell you here. Let's say this is my parent class. This is my child class. So here these are two relationship classes. Inside this class, I'm having a method called public void display. So this is a logic, dummy logic. So here this is the old logic I want to override in my child class. Right? This is a new logic. So if you want to override, the accessibility from a parent to child has to improve it. Now here what does it mean accessibility? So we have an access specifiers public, private, protected, default, which is having high accessibility team
Public.
Public.
public, which is having low accessibility
Private.
private. Very good. Now observe here, if you want to allow override, or if you don't want to allow override, so one way here is make method as final, and the second way is make this as private. Observe. So if I say private, what it is saying team? Method login A type is never used locally. And also observe here. Here, so it is showing from where team B login. Now try to execute this one, login. So here you can get output. Which object, which class object I have to create in? A class or B class?
B class.
B class. Because it is a child class, you can able to access both parent and child. B dot What could be the output team?
User login in child class.
Okay. Now you are login child from a child class. Now observe. So here, what happening? If you create a child class object, you can able to access both parent class properties and child class properties. Now here, I can able to access anyway child class property, but so this is not overriding thing.
Yes.
This is not overriding. So always private access specifier accessibility limited to class level. Right. Now here I'm able to execute this child class, but it is not considering a overriding. This is private access specifier. So this is limited to class level. So I'm not able to access this one. I'm able to access this one because altogether it is considering this limit. This is limited to parent class, and so anyway this is limited to entire project. So this is limited to parent class. You cannot see outside of this parent class. So by the time of this method, it won't consider this method parent login. So altogether this is independent. This is not overriding. Second one is make as private. So if you want to override in a parent level, so if you want, you can mention a public. Here, if you want, you can mention a private. No issues. Here you are making private is a child class, not in a parent class. If you make a private in a parent class, that is not overriding. That is what I am trying to say.
Yeah.
So always accessibility has to increase from a parent to child.
Yeah.
Clear?
Yeah.
And also observe here. If it is interface, observe. If it is interface, usually here PowerPoint. So if it is interface, obviously interface, what method will take the abstract method. So abstract also, so one type of non-access type. So in a child classes, what we are making here, abstract to in a child class, what the access specifier will give?
Public.
Non-abstract, right?
Yeah.
Public, normal method, without abstract, non-abstract. So here,
Yeah.
here also we are improving the accessibility, abstract to non-abstract. Okay, team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so observe. Make it nice. This one. So overriding, just remember these points. Static to static. Overriding, possible or not?
Yeah.
Better I'll note down the points here. So these are all overriding points. The first one is non-static to non-static. To in the sense inside a child class team. Understanding, right?
Yeah.
Non-static in parent class, non-static in child class. So better I'll mention in this like this. P nothing but parent. C nothing but child. Okay. Now tell me, team, is this possible or not? Non-static to non-static.
Possible.
Possible, because we are doing this one only, right? Now, next one, non-static to static. Tell me, is it possible or not?
Yeah, possible.
Observe the example here. Now, my login functionality, let me make it as a public, right? Now, public login, right? Now, let me make it as a static. Possible?
No, we are getting error.
Not possible, right? So, non-static to static, again, not possible. Now, next one, static to non-static. Possible or not possible?
Not possible.
This is not possible. This one also. If you want, we can check it. Right. Now the next one is static to static. Possible or not possible?
Possible.
Very good. Observe here. So here static method. Here also I should mention static methods. Possible or not possible?
Possible.
Possible or not possible?
Possible.
Possible.
Actually not possible. Because if you mention a static methods in this class level, both child class and parent class, you won't get any error. But actually, it seems like a method overriding, but it's not a overriding thing. This is we are calling as method hiding. Actually, you won't get any error, but so both methods are considering as independent methods in parent class and child class. Method what? Hiding. Okay. Right. Missed anyone? Okay. The next one. Abstract to non-abstract. Possible or not possible?
Yeah, possible.
So we are doing interface to class, same thing only. 6-1. Non-abstract to abstract. Possible or not possible?
Not possible.
Not possible because we are narrow down or we are decreasing the accessibility.
Yeah.
Right. Now, by the time of overriding, so you have to consider these things. Always accessibility has to increase, right? So the least accessibility private. So private to you can consider protected. So you can consider default. So next you can consider public like this. So you are improving the accessibility. Clearly,
Yeah.
Yeah.
these are the combinations you have to remember by the time of overriding. And also here you have to consider The most important one is return type also. Just practice this team. Tomorrow, just try to practice. So by maintaining different data types. So by using return statement, what we can return team?
Return data types and objects.
Integer, the all data types object.
So we can return all types of data types.
Data
We
types
can return
and object.
objects. Even we can return can we return the references?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
So first one is data type, already we know. Second one is object, directly create object, return that object. If it is a class A, create object A is equal to new A and return object. So we can create object for a class by using parent class reference and parent interface reference. Even we can return references also. Method return type can hold parent interface, parent class reference. Just practice this one. So tomorrow I'll tell you one more concept here. Type here. Okay. So that's what about team. Today we discuss about what we discuss today. So we discuss about
Non-access specifier.
non-access specifiers, static, abstract, and final.
Final.
Right?
Final.
And also the final keyword, we can apply final keyword for a method. What will happen team if we apply a final keyword for a method? What will
We can't
happen?
override that method in child
We
class.
cannot override. So if you apply a final keyword for a variable, what will happen team?
We can't update that value or we can't enhance that value. Yeah.
Right. So even we can apply this final keyword
Class.
for a classes. See, right? Now observe final with class. So let me have example here. I give you final, right? Final. Example. Try to maintain your own notes team. So follow these key points. Try to write your own notes so that it should be very understandable and long lasting. Okay. But it's useful for entire or rest of career team.
Yeah.
Right. Now let me have remove this one. Class B. Right. Let me remove this stuff. This. Right. So I'm having only one class, that is B class. Right. Now, so I'm having a B class. Also, let me have my class called so I'm having a method called inside this employee info public So this one, this method name is so this method will do what thing? It will show so employee account balance sheet. Okay, balance account balance, what it is, what he is having, right? Now, so if I want to execute this method, what I have to do, team? Display
We have
employee
to
account balance.
create object.
Just create an object, just execute, and it will show employee account balance. Now I
Yeah,
want to execute this from another class.
relation extends.
Okay, extends or any other. Any other? I want to execute this method inside another class.
Calling the method just may take
How?
a main method and create an object just calling a method.
Very good. First of all,
Parent
have a
parent
main
class.
method, create object for this class because it is a non-static method. Obviously, we have to create object like this equals to new class, right? So obj
Yeah.
dot display
Displaying.
Method.
and as the application, right? It will show the account balance, but I don't want to show this account balance in other classes, and I'm not at all interested to create anyone for my this employee account class. So
Yeah,
here
make
I would
final
like to restrict this one.
final class.
So in that case, okay, now observe here. Now let's make it as a final class. Mhm.
Mm.
Let me try in another class. I think it's a document, right? Let me try it on another class. It has to show test class, right? Let me do the same thing in this. Wonder. It has should not throw error team. It has to throw error. Syntax is correct only. It has to throw error. So we cannot instantiate final classes.
Public class final.
I'll tell it in. I'll tell you how to cross check both ones. But the definition is so final class we cannot instantiate nothing but So we cannot create an object. Okay, I'll give you the definition. I'll give you the information tomorrow. So the final keyword. So we can apply 3 levels. First one is variable level, and second one is method level, and third one is class level. If you apply a final variable for your variable, you cannot update the value, or you cannot change the value again and again. To throw error. When we have to go for a final variable team, if there is a value which is not changing throughout your program execution, just to go for a final variable. Clear? And when we have to go for a final method team, if you don't want to, or if you don't want to allow anyone to override your methods, just make it as a final method. And so when you are going for a final classes team, so if you are not interested to create object for your classes, just make your class as final class. Clear, team? Hope you have an idea on abstract keyword and abstract classes, interfaces, static keyword, static method, static variable, static block, final variable, final method, final class. Okay, I'll give you the confirmation tomorrow. This one. Okay.
Okay.
So any questions, team?
No.
Keep on practice. Keep practice. So if I discuss any concept, just try to practice with combination of existing concepts.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right?
okay.
So today I discuss about this one, abstract and static and final. So try to apply existing concepts. So you have already practiced on method overriding, overloading, and return type, constructors, right? So try to apply all these things on your earlier practice sessions.
Okay.
Okay. So if you have practiced different combinations, and you will have a good clarity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, team.
thank you.
Thank you.